canvas, you'll see underneath Bastille Day newspaper is the last thing we did last week. So we have two little like subsections that we're going to do this week. And today's going to be about one figure, a pretty infamous figure. Sometimes she actually gets more face time and hate than the king. But today's going to be about Queen Marie Antoinette. And we're just going to look at some rumors about her and some facts and her sort of childhood, which will explain her behavior, because you're going to be tempted to hate her guts, because most people hate her guts, and that's totally your choice, but you need to know her story before you hate her. And some of you will be able to relate a little bit. Question? Is she the cake lady, the let them eat cake? Yeah, she's the let them eat cake lady. We'll talk about the let them eat cake thing. Okay? Tomorrow, what we're going to do is read about her husband, the king, King Louis XVI. Okay? And I will need to know right now, who is going to be gone Friday for this class for sure? Okay. I thought some of you would leave later in the day. Like indoor track, you leave later? Okay, good. You don't want to miss Friday. Friday's going to be fun. We're going to put the king on trial, and you're going to be the king for wearing the shirt today. Because some of you know from history what happened to the king when he really got put on trial.
He got put to death.
It's how most people's lives ended during the French Revolution.
Oh, heads chopped off.
Guillotine. Okay? So, you'll be on a team and help either be one of the lawyers defending him or trying to convict him of treason, but then you'll just miss the fun part Friday. Because we'll put him on trial on Friday. Okay? Then we get to the really fun part, which you can tell by the name. The tear is going to be next week. And you guys are going to do a thing. I think all of you are in Miss K's English class, as far as I know. Hopefully you passed 9th grade English class. That you do some of it in here and some of it in there, and it's really fun. Okay? And then a guy named Napoleon's going to come around, and we're going to get to the ending of the story, so to speak. And remember, there's two kinds of revolutions. Full circle back where you started, or radical different direction. I wonder which one the ending's going to be. Okay? So, open the Marie Antoinette one.
Is it the A+ one?
Yep. 2, 4, 6, 8. 22. And I'm going to give you a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, you're an 11.
Okay.
10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 3. Okay, everybody has one partner. You can go anywhere you want. You just want to be able to see the front screen. Move a desk, sit on the floor, I don't care. Threes, there are 3 of you. Go. Somebody's going to have to move. When you get situated, you need a shared copy of this document between you and your partner. When you get situated, you need a shared copy of this document between you and your partner. Yeah. Well, let's see who doesn't have a partner, and I bet you're their partner. Who doesn't know their partner? You and Wheeler, it looks like. Okay, you need a shared copy between your group. Make sure you can all edit. And then your screen should look like mine, and you should see a picture of Marie Antoinette from a movie with a lot of cake. She is forever synonymous with cake. We'll explain why. Okay, here's how this works. We're going to actually play a game in a minute, but here's the first one. There was a movie made about Marie Antoinette. She was the Queen of France during the French Revolution. like most figures that we learn about, okay? Does someone ever start telling you a story and you already know the ending? You're like, this is boring, I already know what happens. Like they tell you about a movie and you've already seen it, okay? Spoiler alert, most of the people we learn about, most of them in the French Revolution, the story ends the same way. Their head in a basket. They get guillotined. They get their head chopped off. Okay? She got her head chopped off. You can guess what happened to the king and a bunch of the leaders from the Terror. Same thing. Now, this movie comes from 2006, and Kirsten Dunst plays Marie Antoinette. It's not like a historical, well-researched documentary. It's just an entertaining movie. So a lot of the stuff is exaggerated or based on rumors that a lot of history books repeat, but we know probably aren't true. Here's a still shot from that movie. She's the lady in the white. Okay? 2 questions for you and your partner. If you're a French peasant who's paying taxes and starving, does this give you a positive or a negative impression of your queen? Whichever one you pick, you need to come up with 3 specific details you can point to from this picture and say, that shows, and this shows, and that object. That you can point with your finger and say, these 3 specific details from the image are why I look at her in a negative or positive way. Okay? So with your partner, have that talk first, positive or negative, and then start looking. You can control plus and expand that all you want.
Control plus. Oh wait, never mind. There we go. She has like all this food. She's not starving. I don't know what she's on. This picture is really blurry.
I think she's like, I think she's wiping her shoe down. Because you can kind of see the heel of it.
You guys already have 3? Man, you're on your game today.
So,
What are some key details from the image?
So what can you point to and say, here's why I feel that way? What things from the picture? Okay, specifically what? Somebody last period counted all the cakes. Last period.
she's wearing fancy clothes.
Got it made. Doing something with her feet. Looks like she's putting icing on her
We
shoe.
had an argument about this last period. We won't go there again.
Oh, it looks like she's putting something.
Okay, I bet I can come up with something important that none of you do.
What?
Well, we'll find out.
Oh.
Who said as a French third estate, starving, heavily taxed peasant, you would look at her in a positive way?
Probably not.
There's no way, there's not many details.
She
You're
looks
wrong.
very good.
Okay. Most of the questions in this class you can be right if there is evidence to back up your claim. There is no evidence to back up that claim. It's overwhelmingly in the favor of negative, so I'm glad you guys are all with it today. Okay? He's a German spy. You can't trust anything he says. He's the reason why YouTube stopped working. And it took me a half hour just to figure out how to play you a 2-minute clip I'm going to show you today, which we'll talk about later. Okay? But don't trust anything the German spy says. Now, what can you point to? Here's what your brain defaults to. Objects and people. So what are some? That make her look like a negative image to you, a starving French peasant.
All that cake.
Yeah, and somebody told me they counted 12 cakes or cupcakes last period. Either way, we know the diet of many of the third estate people. They're eating meat twice a year, maybe. They're eating bread with straw hanging out of it. She's got more cake than she could eat in a week. Like, some of that's going to go bad before she ever eats it, or she's going to get diabetes or something. Like, it's not realistic.
Oh, she's pretty well motivated. She probably could do it.
Maybe. Okay? Now, besides the cake, what else can you point to?
Fancy clothes.
Fancy clothes. A lot of people miss this. That is her hat or thing in her hair. I don't know what you call that. It's not part of the chair.
Called a thing.
Okay? And she's got a fancy white dress on. That would be expensive. That's pretty lavish. And it's not like she's going out to a party, right? She's sitting in her chair. Right? Like, I'd hate to see her dressed up if that's not dressed up.
That's
She
right.
has cake stains on.
Who has something else? Mackenzie?
She has a nice atmosphere, like the walls behind her and everything.
Yeah, and I know you guys never look, but when I put all the things on the calendar, I always put a location. Because you know how Google Maps like drops a pin on stuff like Big Piney, Wyoming? You should look at the location I put today, because I always put one on there. What's something else?
She's got her lady made.
Ah, and we can argue about what she's doing to her feet.
It looks like she's putting icing on her feet.
She's taking her shoe off. She has the shoe on, so I don't know what. I think she's taking it off.
My thought was she was putting the shoe on or taking it off. But someone tried to argue that she's shining her shoes or rubbing her feet. At the end of the day, none of us have someone doing that for us at home if we're starving peasants. And it's kind of like that Duke of Saint-Franc from last week. Like, you're so lazy you don't even put your own socks on. You must be really rich and lazy. And I resent you because I'm poor. Okay? Does anyone have something else? There's something really important that no one said.
I get that.
What?
She's really well fed. That's a lot of cake.
Well, the cake is there, but she's not eating it.
Oh yeah, all the cake's in whole.
Okay, your brain defaults to objects and people, but you're missing a super important one. Zach? Hygiene of hers? Okay, because like we said before, it looks like the inside of a really fancy palace or something. So she's got somebody cleaning or has a robot vacuum. There's something that's not an object and it's not a person.
She has all these cakes, and they're all whole. She hasn't even touched them.
Ah, okay.
These people are starving, and she has all these cakes.
Good point. What's worse, having all the cake that you don't eat
Waste.
or having all the cake that you do eat? Which one's worse if you're a starving peasant?
And the cake that you don't eat.
Probably the wastefulness, right? Okay,
Cake's going bad.
here's an important one. And if you're one of those people who walks through the hallways of our school with your headphones in and your eyes down, pay attention. Look at her posture. Is that a specific detail you can point to?
Sure.
But your brain didn't even think of that, did it? Okay? What's her posture say about her?
She doesn't care.
Very.
She's aloof.
If I may, she is chillin'. Get that shoe for me. I'm going to pick out which kind of cake I want. I really don't care about anyone or anything else in the world right now. She is chillin' while you are starving. So aloof is a good word, but that's over most of our heads. It means like you're lofty and above everybody else. Like, you peasants, I don't even mind you. Okay? But her posture shows she doesn't care. She's disconcerted. Okay? Because big words are going to be relevant in a minute. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to read some facts and some rumors about her. I treat you as mature students, and as such, I expect you to act in that way. Before we get to her nickname that you will like, and she did not, her backstory. You guys know throughout most of history, if you're a king with a family, and you want to make a deal with another kingdom or country, even tribes with Native Americans and other indigenous people, what can you offer the leader of another nation to show how serious you are about being friends with them and making a treaty, besides signing the paper that says, I promise I'll be nice to you and we'll trade?
Yeah, your son can marry my daughter.
Bam! He knows because he's European. I don't know if that's why they sent him here. Again, he's German. Don't trust anything he says today. But he's right. You say, here's how much I want to be friends with you, Germans. You can marry my daughter. Usually, like, she's young, maybe in her teens. Like, 16, you're ready to get married if you haven't already. And here's the thing. You not only get given away to marry this guy, you're probably never going to see your family again. You have to go to a foreign country. That's why you're making this deal. It's not like your neighbor. It's someone in a foreign country who has different customs and culture and religion and food. Okay? And you're not going to have any friends.
That's dope.
So, knowing that, because I said you're going to be tempted to hate her guts. You can totally hate her guts. Okay? This is a painting of her, Marie Antoinette, got given away by her dad to marry the Prince of France. That was King Louis XVI before he became king. To say, let's be friends. Austria, not Australia, not surfer bros in the coral reef. Austria, the cousin country to Germany. Like Vienna sausages and Adolf Hitler, Austria. Right? Okay?
Lovely.
So that Austria and France are intermarried and friends. Because here's the thing. If you go back on your deal with France, say you're going to trade with them, and you rip them off, they have your daughter. You would be stupid to break a treaty when they have your kid in their custody, right? And people did that all the time. Like the Japanese would say, you can take my son prisoner. That's how loyal I am, and if I ever do anything wrong, you can kill my son.
Oh, that's rough.
Now, it sucks for your son, but it's good for your relationship with that country. Okay? So, knowing that, here are some things that the French people said about her. Okay? The first one, her nickname. Because she was Austrian and not French, they called her the Austrian bitch. I use that word in the historical context not to condone swearing or be cool and say bad words. It's important that they don't just call her the B word. They call her the Austrian B word. How this game works is you and your partner are going to pick one word, only one word, to go in this box that describes how the French people would view her knowing this. Based on this statement, in one word, how do the French people view her? I'm going to give you one. Some of you cheated and saw it. Erase your memory if you already did. Okay, and I'll explain how it's very relevant today. Again, don't trust the German. He's a spy. Don't listen to anything he says. Okay? So, with this first one, you guys as a group say, what's a word? Thesaurus, dictionary, your brain. All three valid resources for this task. If you don't know, Control-Shift-Y is the dictionary, and if you have your extension, you should be able to just click that. Okay? If you use a big word, you have to explain what it means, because I'm going to use a big word, but I'll explain what it means. Okay? So we're going to do the rest of them on your own after we do this together, and then I'm going to show you a clip from the movie trailer about her and see what you think the movie says about her.